Hi, everyone. My name is Jason Hanford. I'm an attorney at the Chartwell Law offices, and I'm today talking to one of my partners from the Pittsburgh office. What we've been doing is we've been making a series of videos on recent topics, recent legal topics, articles that have been written. We know that a lot of our clients are getting a lot of emails from their attorneys with the legal articles and analysis, and we thought, why don't we do a couple videos and put it on video what we're talking about in the articles. So we hope you're enjoying the videos. We hope that you like this one as well. We'll put them out on our social media platforms. If you have any questions, you can put questions in the comments. You can make funny jokes in the comments. You can certainly share them. We'd appreciate that. If you have any questions you don't want to make in a social media, everybody can see it kind of environment, feel free to email us. Email my partner, Andy Klaber, who's going to be speaking today. You can email me. You can go to our website, which is chartwelllaw.com, and you'll be able to get a lot of information there on how to contact us and what we're all about. Before we get started, I wanted to, again, say that I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody's staying safe and healthy. It's a wild time in the world, but everybody's doing what they can, and we'll get through this. So the other disclaimer that I always have to give is whatever we're talking about here today, it's not really legal advice. We're just having a conversation. So don't go out there and do anything silly based on what we say. But if you have any questions, we're happy to have a discussion with you. So with nothing else, I want to introduce Andy Klaber from our Pittsburgh office. Andy, I tried to think of some good Pittsburgh jokes, but I love the people out there in Pittsburgh. So I won't make fun of Primanti Brothers or anything like that. Can you say hi to everybody, Andy?
Hello to everybody, and thanks for having me, Jason. I look forward to it.
You doing all right?
Everything is fine in Pittsburgh, and we're thinking about you as well.
Awesome. So we're here today to talk about what I'll call a COVID-19 adjunct issue. If you wanted to listen strictly to COVID-19 issues today, you'll have to skip to the next video. We're actually going to talk about something slightly different, but I think you'll see quickly why it's related. Andy, can you explain to everyone what we're actually going to talk about today?
Sure, Jason. At a very high level, what we're going to talk about a little bit today is refunds from colleges or universities based upon the COVID-19 shutdown. I think a lot of students and a lot of families have recently been dealing with kind of the fallout from the campus shutdown. It raises certain questions that are near and dear to a lot of people's hearts. Specifically, it has to do with refunds. Or credits or rebates or whatever you might call it for room, board, and campus fees.
So essentially we're talking about parents, perhaps students, saved up for a long time. I have young kids and I'm already saving up to pay for a college education, and the college either they send, I think all the kids got sent home, and they're going to school online. They're not having all the experience that they would have had, including a graduation ceremony in most instances, to finish out their college education. Are any of the universities and colleges getting on top of this and being forthcoming and providing refunds and reimbursements, Andy?
I think they are, and I think in the spirit of disclaimers, I should say that our discussion here is not a one-size-fits-all. There are tens of thousands of universities across the United States. Each one is doing things a little bit differently. Some got ahead of it very, very early and offered refunds to students, I think, before they even thought about it. Others took their time, and I think at this point, most colleges and universities recognize they need to do something, and most of them have come up with what they think is a solution, what they hope is a solution, but it varies from institution to institution.
If you're a parent or a student whose university perhaps got back to you and didn't really give much of a refund, or is maybe balking at giving a refund or a reimbursement, what options do people have? What legal options are out there for somebody in that situation?
There's a number, Jason. I think I want to highlight first kind of why I think they're on pretty legal solid ground. When we talk about fees and reimbursement or refund of fees, I think the easiest way to look at it is room and board. And so these are room and board fees that cover the second semester of 2020. And clearly, if these students aren't on campus, they are not receiving the services that they contracted for. And I would say in almost all situations, those were paid in advance. Those are paid before a student can even be enrolled for this particular semester. So Naturally, this has spawned some legal activity. To date, I'm aware of 4 class action lawsuits against colleges based upon a number of legal theories, including breach of contract, but also conversion, which is a nice civil way of essentially saying theft. It's basically a misuse of funds. That is one way that students can seek the money back. I think before that, though, my best advice is to communicate with the school. If you don't feel like the refund is appropriate, if you don't feel like the refund is enough, if you want a refund as opposed to a credit, which is what a lot of schools are offering, I think it's fair to the schools to communicate with them and let them know what you are looking for. And stranger things have happened. Negotiations will sometimes lead to a resolution.
So, and that seems like pretty good common sense advice. If you don't like what has been provided or what has been offered, your first step is go back and say, hey, I think I'm entitled to a little bit more than that, and see what the university or the college says. If they say no, then do we proceed to what you're referring to, the class action? Is there anything else in between?
I suppose the next step, strangely, it sounds strange, but it may work as well, is essentially a small claims action in the jurisdiction where the university is located. In most cases, what you're looking for is going to be under the jurisdictional limits of a district magistrate or some other small claims organization, and students or their parents could file in that jurisdiction. If that doesn't work, the next step is essentially either starting a class action, for lack of a better phrase, or joining in a class action. A real high level, class actions are started by essentially a typical plaintiff. So the 4 class actions that have been started with one plaintiff. The attorneys will take that, they will file a complaint, they will seek certification of a class by the court. Once the class is certified, those attorneys will go and seek out other class members. And you may have received notifications for this on a faulty toaster or a bad drill where there's a class action. And you have an option at that point as a student. You can either sign up to participate in the class, or you can not sign up and you don't have to participate in the class. But if you do participate in the class, it's likely that your participation will be very limited. You, in all likelihood, will never testify. You will just simply have to sign some papers indicating that if there is a resolution, you want to be part of it.
Andy, I know that everybody has a different experience in college when they go through college, and some people like it more than others. Some people like their school more than others. When you say class action, and you explained it much better than I could, but it seems like a big deal. And I don't want to trivialize what people are spending on education, because that's expensive and that's a big deal too. But if it's a situation where the student, feels a little bit of allegiance to the school, or perhaps the parents and alumni of the school, and everybody in the family has gone there since, great grandfather Bill or grandma Edna. If they have that tie, that bond with the school, are they going to feel reluctant to get involved with a class action, which sounds like a big deal? It sounds really expensive. What if they bankrupt their favorite university?
Yeah, I think you've hit on one of the more interesting aspects of this. This is not, it's not akin to a situation where someone buys a sofa bed and they want to return it, or they want to haggle over the sofa bed. There's some emotion, there's some loyalty wrapped up in this decision. And for that reason, a lot of students and their parents are not going to seek a refund, or they'll accept the refund that's been given. I think from my perspective, at this point, the room and board fees are in my mind crystal clear. They should absolutely be refunded. And I don't think the schools even have a problem with that, based upon the number of schools that have engaged in that. They have made the financial calculation, and I don't think a return of those fees is going to bankrupt any school. The larger issue, and I think the bigger problem that schools are going to have to face from a financial perspective, is either a partial or a total refund of tuition fees. And those are also the subject of these class actions that have been filed. The argument being is that the students are not getting what they bargained for. They expected on-campus teaching, they expected access to their professors, they expected an experience, if you will, in the academic setting. And I think I think there's questions as to whether or not the schools are delivering the education that was promised. But again, time will tell. It's going to depend upon how well the distance learning experiment goes. It's going to depend upon how the students react to it. It's going to depend upon graduation. It's going to depend upon a lot of factors, but I suspect in the next 45 to 60 days, we're going to see a lot more activity in this realm.
Yeah, it's an interesting issue, Andy, and I know I'm doing distance learning for my public school, grade school children right now, and it's not the same as them being at school. And I could imagine if I were going to a prestigious, Ivy League type of school, and then for the last 3 months of the semester, I'm sitting in my parents' living room. It's a much different experience. Hopefully that doesn't impact things down the road, like job options and things of that nature. But I could see how people might think that it could. So I can kind of see both sides of it. Just like you say, the universities have a lot of funds available, and some people don't have funds available, and they put a lot of those funds towards this education that maybe doesn't end up being what they were looking for. Did you have any final, and thank you for your time today, do you have any final comments for everyone about this particular issue?
No, I think the decision is how to proceed. It's like any other legal issue and something that people may be unfamiliar with. But I think people just have to look at their individual circumstances. They have to make a decision as to what's best for them. And if that involves weighing the interests of their chosen university, then so be it. And again, I think it's something that we're going to continue to monitor. We'll continue to monitor those class actions. And if anybody has any questions, we're certainly here for them. And I would encourage people to keep an eye out on the website for articles, as we're producing those on a fairly regular basis as well. But I thank you for your time, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Thanks, Andy. I appreciate it. It was good. And perhaps we'll come back and do another video in a couple months when this moves along. I want to thank everybody. If you made it this far, thank you. Congratulations. If you have any questions about this, feel free to reach out. Obviously, Andy's very well versed in it, and I'm sure he can address any questions you might have. And we'll be doing more videos going forward. If you have anything you want us to cover, anything you want us to discuss, feel free to reach out and let us know. So everybody stay safe, stay healthy, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you soon. Thanks.